Hello, guys. This is a post-market analysis of 27th of March. So, as we discussed in the pre-market, exactly the same happened. And you see, we discussed that Gift Nifty was indicating 300-point gap down. But since US futures slightly turned positive because of the Trump post, that 10 days, there won't be any escalation. But now things have changed. Because of that, again, that 300-point gap down basically changed to kind of 150-point gap down. And that's what I discussed in the pre-market analysis. We got around 140-point gap down as we expected. And I told you we are going to go on, right? On the downside. And it's an open, okay. It's an open high. And then that means the selling pressure was there right from the opening. So it's very close to S3 level. It opened Camarilla pivot, made an open high and opened, and high is the same. That was a selling pressure, and continuous selling is what you have seen. But it was not that sharp, but it was again continue. If you look at from yesterday's close and today's bottom, and in fact, today market closed at the lowest level. That close to today's low, it's almost 500 point. If you see, that's around 23,300 yesterday's close. Now it's 22,800 it came. So it's almost 500 points in that 150-point gap down and 350-point intraday move also you got. We have never expected such kind of sharp sell-off will come, because yesterday, compared to previous sessions in the month of March, 18 days, FIAs were selling consecutively, consistently, relentlessly with 5,000, 7,000, 6,000 crores each day. But last day we have seen only 1,000 crores. That means we thought at least the selling volume and the pressure from FIA side is coming down. But now what dragged this market today, we don't know, right? So let's discuss what all things have happened and what we can expect in the upcoming days. The trend has been the same. You can see last 1 hour, you are getting the 200-point fall, right? It has been the scenario, and it's very easy now to trade. Only come in the last 1 hour and take a trade on the put side. That's enough. So today, the assumption was very clear. Yesterday, if you see, US markets have crashed, but then because of the Trump post, somewhat recovery you have seen on the futures. And that was reflected in Gift Nifty also. From 300-point gap down indication, it came to 150 point. So it was at 23,000 level at once and then came to 23,150 levels. Asian markets were also not very weak. Oil was also not spiking. It's around 100, right? So the expectation was, yes, there will be a gap down, but there will be a kind of stable market, or some bounce here and there. A sideways market is what was the expectation. But what we have seen is a major fall, which was actually not expected. A big fall is not expected like the one which you have seen. Yes, we expected the gap down, but still, this is something like after the gap down, a big red candle and a steep fall also. That's something which is which was out of syllabus. And as soon as the market opened, they made an open high, 150-point gap down. And whatever gift, in fact, if you see the live trading session I have posted, and I told there is a potential that it can go to 300-point down. But it even went to 400-point down also. 300-point down because we were talking about 23,000, because Gift Nifty was indicating at that level at one point. So there is a possibility, and then there may be recovery. So Gift Nifty also have recovered. So we have seen continuous selling, but there was no recovery, and it's a straight fall, right? But it was not steep. It's still a straight fall. And I think once it came to 20 MA, apart from that, you didn't get such a retracement also today. It's continuously went down. Yesterday, it again went up sharp. At one point, it came to 20 MA and you got an opportunity. And then towards the end, it came down also. Today, entirely different scenario. Now, if you look at the key trigger, the Reliance, came under severe selling pressure today. There was a news related to, that Reliance is not buying crude from Iran. And, there has been some clarification also. Reliance can buy, from other sources, especially Russia. There you can get the cheaper crude. Also, Reliance, processes this low quality crude, right? So you will be buying a cheaper, and you will sell this refined product at the market price, and that way also you'll be getting profit. So this news when came, it got affected, and that's the reason why you have seen some selling pressure in Reliance. Apart from that, if you see, government have reduced this tax on petrol and diesel. What exactly the tax, I don't remember the word, but that tax have reduced almost 10 rupee. So what could be the impact that the retail price may not increase, right? So normally, this crude oil price keep on spiking, it will come down. We are not seeing that in our petrol pumps. You will see such kind of spikes that you see here. Why that is happening is the government is controlling that, right? Even if the price is coming down sharply, you are not finding that petrol prices are reducing. Even if it is going high also, you are not seeing the petrol prices are going up, because government is controlling through taxes and through other instruments also, right? So here, the reason why government have reduced the tax now is not to increase the petrol price. Already, I think one petrol company have increased it. Nayara, I think they have around 500 retail shops, retail pumps, and then they have increased, and that's something which is spreading negativity also in the market. But again, this is a positive development. Market ignored that positivity also. And if you look at the magnitude of the fall from yesterday's close to today's low, market closed at day's low 500 point. From today's open to today's low, which is around 400 points. Yesterday's high to today's low, that is 23,470 to 22,800, that is 700 point. So yesterday's high to today's low, 700 point in Nifty. I'm not talking about Bank Nifty, I'm not talking about Sensex, I'm talking about Nifty. And if you see, the market behavior has been very volatile, very violent for these recent days. We have seen some 1,000 point swings here and there easily. 22,500 it is going, and 23,500. Day before yesterday, what was the low? 22,620. Day before yesterday, right? 20 day before yesterday, there was a low of 22,600, and then they came to 23,500 yesterday. So that's a swing of almost 1,000 point, 900 point. If you consider previous day also, they came to 23,470 level. So 23,470 to sorry, 22,470, that's on Monday. And then Wednesday, in 2 days, they gave 1,000 point. And from that high, now they have given a dip of 700 point, right? So it is like 22,400 to 23,400, 1,000 point. Now 23,400, 500 to 22,800, which is 700 point dip. What kind of market is this? It's all related to the geopolitics. It's all related to this global news, and driven by this news only. But it is today, it was very easy to trade, because you just need to look at the put side only. If you watch that live trading video that I've done with the mentees also, it's very clear. You just need to watch on that put side only. There is no reason to take any call trade, and there is no reason to get into any unnecessary trap also. So this has been the sequence, right? So one day you are going to see that 23,200 level. Next day you'll be getting maybe a 500 point gap down, right? And then you are getting a recovery of 400 points, and then you are getting another 600, 700 point gap down. This is what has been the scenario now. Okay, so market is in an extreme volatility phase. Everything depends upon the Trump's mood. What else to say? Apart from that, you have seen Reliance was dragging today, HDFC was dragging, and both of them combined, these two elephants have dragged Nifty almost 160 plus points. And these are the two heavyweights in Nifty. So when both of them are coming down, Nifty have came down, and these two alone contributed 160 point in the phone. Almost half of the Nifty's fall is because of these two. Bank Nifty is also showing the weakness, right? Bank Nifty have underperformed again. Possible reason is, you know, I discussed that in the pre-market also, this margin requirement things that even ADR also we have seen very negative. And in the pre-market, I've discussed that arbitrage correction will be there. So it could be a possible arbitrage correction. It could be that margin related rule and that margin requirement that, and also this two-factor authentication matter also I've discussed. So that can reduce the profitability of the bank, and that could also be one of the reason. Auto stocks, you know, should have done well. But what happened is, yeah, in fact, they did. Why auto stocks should have done well is because, you see, when the fuel tax is cut, that is actually positive for auto stocks, but that also have not worked, because market have ignored it completely. Now, if you look at market closing, it closed exactly at day's low. Just that weighted averages in the last one candle that you see. Otherwise, it closed exactly at day's low. So that's a strong bearish signal. Whenever you see markets closing at day's low, that's a strong, very, very bearish signal. Okay. So let's see what the panic is there. People don't want to carry position for weekends. So that's the reason why everyone is selling and everyone is closing the position. Let's take a fresh position on Monday. That could be the reason. Many of you might have taken the puts also looking at that fall. Let's see what is going to happen. So afternoon, if you see European futures were indicating some good opening, and there will be some recovery in the afternoon. That's expected, but that did not come, right? So we have seen before also, towards the end, last 1 hour you are getting a dip, but before that you are seeing some recovery. But market have fallen even after European market opening also. There was no positivity. Now, what is the major reason for selling? It's that I think no one want to carry position for weekends. You need to sleep peacefully, because otherwise, what is going to happen on weekend? You can't say, right? If you see this war, how this war progressed is major attacks are happening on the weekends. And Monday, either you see big gap up or big gap down. If there is some relief which you're getting, a big gap up. Otherwise, you're getting a big gap down. This has been the trend, and that's the reason why. Because Trump also don't want during market times and market days, such kind of obliteration kind of attack, right? So maybe something big is going to come in this weekend. That's why people are worried and afraid, and they're scoring off the positions, and the market closed exactly at day's low. So let's see what is going to happen. And also VIX, if you see yesterday, VIX was coming down, but not much down, even when the market was going up. Today, VIX again closed 27. So imagine if VIX is going above 30, that's a danger zone, right? We have seen that during Lehman crisis. We have seen that during COVID crash only. That time, VIX have even reached 80, 60, 70, 85 levels. But now closing 25 itself is danger. Imagine if it is closing 30. So if you see global market also changed from 1%, European futures, now it is -1%. US futures also turning negative. So that means it's not only in the Indian market, global, even crypto market also, you look at it now, the Bitcoin is trading at 66,000. 3 days back, it was at 76,000. Another 20% drop you can see there also. Okay, now coming to Strait of Hormuz, Trump have claimed that almost 10 ships are allowed. Iran made a statement that only three were attempted and it was sent back. What does that mean? That means the Strait of Hormuz is not open. And this just confusing the market. Trump is saying something, Iran is saying something, but the fact is that it's not open, right? So the core problem is that credibility part. Trump's statement, it is not consistent. He's saying in 48 hours, we are going to obliterate. And then he is saying we are going for a ceasefire. He started saying that Iran's terrorist regime. And then he came and saying that there is a ceasefire possibility. We are negotiating with state of Iran, right? So terrorist regime to state of Iran. Then again, he changed his stand last day, and he is going for escalation. That was the arrogant tone that he have used yesterday. Today also this press conference is going on. Let's see. So that's why you see market is up on good news and down on negative sentiment. And there is no stability. The volatility is at its peak. So let's see what is going to happen. Now Trump has given another 10 days. That means April 6th. Till then, it will be high volatility. It will be based on news. Nothing else is going to affect, this market. Not EMS, not open interest, not the psychological level. Nothing is going to affect the market. Just the crude oil prices and the statements made by the Trump, right? Made by Trump. So this is what ultimately matters. Otherwise, you see, market is extreme volatile. In if you take 2 days, 2 days range, it's 1,000 point is what you're getting. 1,000 point up, 700 point down. 1,000 point up or 1,500 point down. Right. Today, if you see HDFC and Reliance, they dragged and they contributed almost 160 point fall in Nifty. Market is fear driven, volatility driven, news driven. Let's see weekend geopolitical events. I'll update that, in the upcoming session. So see you guys. Thank you so much.